All right, welcome back to the Blender 3 Docwalk. This documentation is Frame Node. We are also going to be covering Reroute Node in this video. So let's jump right in. All right, so this is the last nodes video, which also means it is the last extended controls video, which means it's also the last interface controls video, which means we're going to be starting on tools next video. So that's going to be pretty cool. Okay, jumping over to geometry nodes, and as usual, I'm going to hit new. Okay, I'm going to add just whatever. Just grab, not that. Let's do a couple of whatnots here. And not that. I'm really picking winners today. Not inputting it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, okay, that works. All right. So frames are a way of organizing your nodes without having to create a node group. So, with frames, they're not reusable. It's just a way of organizing your layout so you kind of have a good mental image of what's going on, where what is, what does, sort of a thing. So let's kind of move these two guys apart. You can drop a new frame down. Well, let's do this first. You can drop a new frame down using the traditional Shift A. If we go all the way to the bottom to layout, you'll see frame here. We can select that and drop that there. We can also just instantiate a frame onto whatever couple of nodes we want in that frame. So if I want these two guys in a frame, all I have to do is Control J, and it sticks a frame around them. Okay, so while we have this here, let's talk about the frame properties. I'm going to hit N to pull up in my my sidebar here, and if we go up here, you can see our frame.001. If we select the first one, it's going to be the one that does not have a suffix. So, but let's work with this one for a second. So it's frame.001. Our label, we'll literally give it a label across the top so we can remember, what it's for. So if we want to alter geometry size. All right. Wow, I spelled that wrong. Huh. Now it doesn't look right. Whatever. Okay, let's keep going. All right, so that's your label. It's going to show up right here. There are a few properties that you can work on here. I apologize if you just heard my dog barking. So label size, I believe we can go from 8 all the way up to 64. So, and it doesn't change that drastically. Like if we throw in an 8 here, I mean, it's fairly small, but 64 in comparison to what it was before isn't really that much larger. In fact, it looks like, yeah, it doesn't really, it kind of stops growing at 20 something. So I don't know if that's, due to the size. Well, let's try a little experiment here. Let's turn off shrink. So what shrink does is see how this guy here, I can kind of change its size while there's nothing in there. Once I throw a node in there with shrink selected, it's going to kind of shrink wrap around the two nodes. So I can no longer see, I can no longer change its size. All right. Once I turn shrink off, now I can come over here and alter its size. So let's see if nope, 23 it looks like. Tops off at 2, 3, yep. Looks like it tops off at 23, but the input field lets it go all the way up to 64. So, I don't know what exactly the reason for that is. At any rate, let's keep going here. So that's what shrink does. Shrinks it down to the size that you need. And now this text area allows you to add more text to your frame here. Keep in mind the label only accepts up to 64 characters. So if I want to add more characters, what I can do, I can come over here to my scripting tab. If for some reason I need to explain something a little bit more verbosely or whatever, I can head over to my scripting tab, create a new script, and, you know, oh, I don't know, the great Blender frame is in need of somebody to use it in their project, or it will get very depressed and kill itself like Marvin the robot from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy! Exclamation point. Alright, and now we're just going to label it frame hiker, and we're going to jump back over to geometry nodes, and this text field here will reference whatever, you know, whatever scripts I've written. So I've got F frame hiker here, click on that, and now all that text will show up. I can, you know, turn shrink off, move this around, whoops, and move these guys down a bit so you can read all that great text. And that's that's that, I suppose. So yeah, if you really want to explain something or expound on something, that's the best way to do it. You probably don't need it, you know. That's probably good right there, you know what I mean? Okay, now I'm going to add a couple more nodes. Really, this time it really doesn't matter what they are. I'm just going to drop a few down here. Yep, good little cluster here. Now, if I want to add these nodes to a frame, we're going to use this one, the first one we made. I'm going to select the 3 of these. So they need to be selected up front, okay? Now I'm going to shift select this last frame, or this frame, so that everything is selected, the frame being the last thing I've selected. So shift, left mouse click, okay, they're all selected. Now, if I hit Control P, it will insert all of my nodes into that specific frame. The color option up here, okay, I can you know, change the background color of my frame to whatever I like. You know, it'll help recognize, you know, different types. See, it's a really good organizational utility here. So let's just do GGG. That's fine. Now I can also take this guy and plunk it in here. Control P, plunk. Now it is a member of this one. Okay, and you know, that being that, I can turn color onto this guy too, and change the background shade of that as well. So really good organizational device here. And lastly, if we want to pull something out of a frame or remove it from the frame, we no longer need it in the frame. If I want to get rid of this, not get rid of it, but just get him out of the frame, okay, I can do Alt P. So instead of Control P for adding to or parenting, right? P for parenting, Alt P, parenting to the frame, or making the frame the parent of the node, right? Alt P reverses that action. So I've got this node selected. I'm going to hit Alt P, and now he no longer goes in the frame. See, this guy is parented to the frame, so I can't get out of the frame. Let's wrap this back up there. But now this little guy is free. So I can do the same thing with this guy. Alt P, he's no longer a part of the frame. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't expect that to happen. Well, whatever, man. And now I can Alt P these guys too. There we go. Yep. Hit G, throw them up here. All right, so that is that for that one. Pretty, you know, cut and dry little document there. Now let's talk about reroute nodes. All right, so this is just a quick appending this to the end of this one, because this is just even shorter, even easier to understand. So let's just jump in and I'll quickly show you how reroute nodes works. Okay, you can add a reroute node one of 2 ways. Of course, you can add it by holding Shift down and tapping A. If you go all the way to a layout, you'll see reroute here. Click on that, and we've got this kind of little dot that follows us around. It's pretty similar to, I'll pull this up a little bit, kind of a socket node, right? So what we can do is we can grab something, head on over to our reroute node, drop it there, and now this guy can just, from here, as a kind of merged, like hybrid input and output socket, I can have one input and multiple outputs, whether or not I'm going to a socket that it matches, but you see what I'm saying here. I can just, plunk it down just about anywhere I want. If you want to add a reroute node to an already existing link, we can simply hold down Shift and click drag with the right mouse button. Okay, so Shift, holding my holding my right mouse button down, and then dragging across the link that I want the reroute node to appear on. And there we go. Okay, this obviously is there to indicate that that is the direction of the information flow, which you could, I'm sure if you have enough reroute nodes hanging out, it can get pretty confusing. So I can dig on that. So yeah, that's that. Pretty. Oh, one last thing. You can't just grab, click and drag a reroute node. If you do, you will just end up, pulling another link out and sticking it to wherever. If you want to move a reroute node, hit G. So select it and then tap G, and now that's your typical grab, behavior, and then you can just left mouse click, drop it wherever. All right. Well, that's it for this document, or these documents. That was frame node and reroute node. I'll see you guys next time in the next document as we start talking about tool systems. Again, as always, please like, subscribe, share it if you think somebody else will find it useful. It will really help the channel get moving. I really appreciate you guys watching. Thanks again. I'll see you next time. Bye.